Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM23 Youth Factory. This is episode 37. Before we head into our next critical game of the season, in which we're expected to take on one of the top teams on the road in Maidenhead, a little analysis of where the team is performing right now, which, of course, lately we've been performing quite well. We've reached that point in the season where we have outdeveloped the other teams around us thanks to the training facilities, coaching staff, the potential of the players that we have, and we're starting to perform at a much higher level. We're second place in the league now. The top three are starting to pull away. We've closed the gap on the league leaders a bit. We have a tiny chance of still doing something this season, but it's getting pretty late. It's already late February. So the analysis. We've scored all of our goals inside the box over the last stretch, over the last 5 matches, all 13. 8 of them even closer than that. We regain possession through the middle of the park, not down the wings very much. Our final third entry passes, you can see, are all diagonal balls, I'd say, other than maybe one that's kind of straightforward over the top, but it's diagonal balls that are working for us. Our opposition entry into final third, you can see, is all happening from the wings, nothing down the middle, and it's either straightforward or diagonal. Opposition touches in the final third, hardly anything in the middle other than this little pocket here. That's a little worrying. On the negatives side, goal scoring. Only 1 goal came quickly. The rest were a minute plus of possession. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That is our play style, so it shows our play style is working effectively. That 12 out of 13 goals over the last 5 matches have been according to plan. Great news on the other end is that only 4 goals came off of shots inside our penalty area defensively. So only 4 goals have been given up in that manner, where we've scored 3 times that much the other way. We've given up just 1 goal outside the box, 1 of 11. So 4 of 14 shooting inside, 1 of 11 shooting outside the box. That's good. That's not a negative at all. So there are different, I see. Our final third entries, central, it's dividing it up. It's not saying that it's all of our final third entries, it's dividing up. This is their central entries, and you can see that they are almost entirely straightforward. And the last one that stands out here, out of 87 attacks that led to an attempt on goal over the last 5 matches, Davy Arthur, our young attacking mid, who we've now replaced just somewhere within the last 5 matches or so, actually. He probably wasn't playing a whole lot anyway, but only 3 of those attacks that led to attempts came from Davy Arthur. At Maidenhead, big matchup. This is definitely a team that has punched below its weight of late, but they are in the playoff zone. But we're the team that's on the rise. 5 straight victories, maybe more. We're 8 points ahead of Maidenhead right now, and as we're tailing off into the final quarter of the season, a win today could cement us ahead of them probably for the entirety of the season. You would think that would give us just about enough of an 11-point advantage. However, one major challenge we are facing today is some serious squad rotation, forced squad rotation here, as we have 2 injuries, including long-term, and we already trail 1-0 in the 4th minute, but also 2 yellow card accumulation suspensions. So between those factors, gosh, that should have been covered off. Terrible defense by Hassel. We've got some serious squad rotation happening here, including a U21, U18 player on the bench, including guys that are normally at the end of our bench or not even on our bench, having to feature as starters today. Evans featuring as a starter today. Hassel, that one looked like it might have been offside, but no flag. Berchielli makes a stop anyway, fortunately. Real Bedford leading in their game, so this could be really bad for us if we drop the 3 points and they take 3 points. That's definitely not the day we'd be looking for here. Even 1 point's not going to add up terribly well in that one. You don't want to be losing ground on a team that hardly ever loses. Hassel. We're not feeding the ball to Sumihoro very well at all right now. We're not pressing very well as a unit. And this Blackwell is just hammering Hassel right now. Hassel is being, hassled quite severely. And it's 5-1 in the shot department here. And it's all Blackwell, and it's all him beating Hassel over and over again. Atkins finding some space. Sumihoro, Gordon. Oh, the cross was on for Lanahan Penreese. If he could have gotten that through. Wow, 3-0. Real Bedford is going to take 3 points. Tyler Walker scores back-to-back goals just 1 minute apart. Sumihoro finds Lanahan Penreese through. This time, can we find somebody else? McFadden brought down in the box. Tackle from behind, that's a clear penalty. Doesn't get any clearer than that, especially with a game notorious for not showing you properly what happened. But that time, it was the most obvious penalty I've seen in this game in ages. A confident Lanahan Penreese goes right down the middle, blasts it into the back. We've had the momentum of late, and we have equalized before halftime, and that's good because it was a bit ugly early on. It was definitely a bit ugly early on, but we are starting to come into our own here. Settled down. Blackwell still seems a concern. Sumihoro gets his first individual chance. There we go. But we come to halftime with all us. So, tale of two portions of that half. First portion, all them. Second portion, all us. A little bit more than an even split. In fact, the XG-wise were significantly higher. But, of course, a penalty is going to do that. 0.8 XG on a penalty attempt. Have managed to get the team fired up here for the second half. That's always an important one in a 1-1 game, as it's usually pretty obvious when one team leads what's going to happen. Tyler Walker scores again. It's 4-0. Real Bedford is claiming their 3 points. We really need to come away with this thing today. Thornhill, Sumihoro, Arthur. Now Thornhill again. So Thornhill, who has finally learned that attacking mid position, is back in the defensive mid role today, as we have an injury to Mortland that's going to see him out for the rest of the season, it looks like. Does that mean... Oh, Sumihoro, there it is! We lead. Wow, great control. Great couple touches. Not a great job from the keeper there, as he probably should have pounced on that much faster. But Gordon, great pass from Gordon. It's a difficult ball to get there. Really good job by Sumihoro to get that off the chest, get it under control, and then still have the wherewithal to make a little dink on the keeper and put it past him. Whoa, Berchielli. I think he was worried about some sort of deflection there and was trying to give himself a chance to react under the circumstances, and then took the block, then pounced on it. Made a decent play of it in the end. Made it look a lot tougher than maybe it could have or should have been, but under the circumstances, I think I get why he ended up doing that. It just looked like that ball was gonna... Something was bound to happen with that. They've had one shot attempt. That was it in the last 40 minutes. But that's a big opportunity. Fantastic block. Great recovery from Redknapp to get back and get a foot on that shot attempt and stop them from getting an open chance from point-blank range. Especially when Berchielli was on the line, trying to give himself maximum recovery time. Okay, time's taken away. The attempts are starting to mount up. They've had 3 more attempts since that last highlight 10 minutes ago. So they are coming at us now. They're starting to pick up that XG. At the moment, things are looking good to hang on to 3 points, but they are definitely keeping us under pressure. So let's start the time wasting severely. Let's play for the set pieces. We've got to go for this thing here. We'll hold shape. We do not need to go into a counter. Kill time by keeping the ball. And we'll slow pace down. Substitutions also will help us in this process, but our problem right now is we don't have subs on the bench. We got Wilkinson, a couple rookies, Kasunga Matumbo, so subbing out the wings. One at a time is the way to go. Do we want to keep Gordon on the pitch? He's having a heck of a game, doing better than Sumahoro. How would he look on? Oh, he still looks really good on top. Hello, Sumahoro. Is that the move that we've been needing? I've wanted to do. When I looked at this all before, it was more like, left wing kind of situation. Anyway, Tumbo. Let's go ahead and get those fresh legs in. The whole point here is to get a sub. Do just the one for now. We'll do Wilkinson in a moment. There you go. That sub has gone through. And that sub has gone through. And now we've killed some time. And it's our ball for this highlight, which is a great sign. We are negating them at the moment. McFadden keeping the possession. Good. Atkins. Evans wasting the possession, giving it away. Their long ball forward. Evans recovers, though. Thornhill. Hassel. Wilkinson. Again, over the top. Gordon! Is he offside? Is he offside? He is. Oh, wow. He's an inch offside. He is an inch offside on that one. Straight into the next highlight, though. Long ball pumped into the box, but Berchielli's going to pounce on it. And we have one sub remaining we will use shortly as we're into that 90th minute. What else do we have, though? Because this is now going to be debut territory for somebody. Healy, we have a super, super tired Atkins. Do I want to bring off Atkins, though? That's a worry. I guess we could sub off Gordon and bring on Forbes to play on top. We don't need another goal at this point. That's a safer way to do it. Don't risk the back. Get fresh legs to help press. Thornhill. Atkins. Playing keep away a little bit better right now. Not pumping the ball forward. Gordon! Ooh, wow. Ooh. He nearly got that one in. Stoppage. Final 30 seconds. Here we go. Atkins, gives it away. Great tackle there to recover. Sango Matumbo keeps possession well. Another ball pumped forward by Evans. Dude, stop doing that. Stop doing that. We're already set to pass short. Another great recovery tackle. Time's up. Has been up for quite some time. Just waiting on a whistle. And there it is. Hard-fought 3 points. Great 3 points. We absolutely took control of that match after their early play. They fought back a little well in the final 20 minutes or so, but we didn't give away too much. That was good. 69% possession. The XG certainly supported the scoreline. Good result in the end. And we nearly got 3. Couple inches shy of a third. The playoff zone just carried out a big match. In fact, it was a match that very much fit what we are expected, at least at the current standings, to see for the playoffs here come the end of the season. We, second place team, played the fifth place team in Maidenhead and won. Truro City, they played Taunton at home. They won 2-1 as well, with a 76 penalty as the consolation goal, 76-minute penalty for Taunton. Otherwise, they were up 2-0 up to that point. So, top 2 teams of the playoff zone beat the bottom 2 teams of the playoff zone and put a further gap between us. We are now 11 points ahead of both of them. Truro City is now 9 points ahead of both of them. We remain 2 points ahead of Truro City, and we remain 8 points behind a very dominant Real Bedford, who have had a little struggle of late. They have not been perfect. We've closed the gap on them a little bit, but closing the gap on them much more with just 8 matches to play is, well, maybe we'll get 3 points closer. Even if we win all 8, I wouldn't expect we'll get more than about 6 points closer. So I have a hard time believing that we will not only close an 8-point gap, but also close the goal differential gap. You never know, though. We've seen plenty of teams collapse late in a season. I do think we are probably as good as, if not better, than Royal Bedford by this point now. But we've got a couple tough games, Truro City and Real Bedford, right at the end. Right now I have a really weird request for the game. I don't know if it's going to heed my request, but I need a fullback. I need a fullback right now. We have our intake in a few days. The reason why I'm so desperate for a fullback is that Kamara has been out injured for a while, has 6 weeks to 3 months left on that. Over the last week, we're one game past where we just left off. We won that game comfortably, but we've now picked up injuries to Peter McFadden and Charlton Redknapp. All three of our fullbacks, other than Evans technically as a backup, all three of our primary fullbacks are out injured for at least the next month. I have a backup in Evans. I have no left back. We have the most injuries in the league, twofold over Real Bedford, fourfold over half a dozen teams, and most of the league have no injuries to speak of. Ouch. Really, really ouch. The next freaking day, Evans is hurt as well. Fortunately, it's just a tight calf, but this is one of those can lead to further injuries and can leave him less than fit heading into the weekend match. It's Thursday afternoon. We are down to 0 fullbacks right now. The result of this is Evans is fit, allowed to play. High risk of injury, though, so he's going to start on the right back. I'm going to put in Wilkinson at left back because all we have, as we're lacking fullbacks down in the 21s and 18s as well, and a couple of them are injured. A couple of them are unavailable because they have a match today. So what we have is Fothergill on the bench, who's really not good, has a heavy match load right now anyway. So I'm going to just give Wilkinson a shot. I would assume that Fothergill will get subbed on at some point, as the assistant manager is going to be like, oh, he's more suited to the position, even though he completely lacks the quality. Mortland on the bench, coming back from his injury. He's not really... actually, I really should just replace him. I'm going to replace him. It was too soon to bring him back in. Kitching is coming back. Evans, we'll see. We'll see how these guys perform. I'm a little worried about this one. It's a bottom place team in the league, like 20th. They're in the relegation zone. Should be an easy victory, but I'm nervous. Domination, but only 2 goals in it. That's all we need, though. I don't care about the goal differential with Real Bedford. I don't think we're going to be catching them. I really think we're just headed to a comfortable second place. But as we get better, and hopefully as we get healthy down the stretch, we get some of those guys back, we could beat Maidenhead again. So they certainly put up a fight, but that was on the road. So if we can come away 2-1 on the road, of course we can come away 2-0 at home or 2-1 at home and take an aggregate and move on. The bigger question is, how do we handle Truro City, who we had some difficulty with earlier in the season? Isn't one of our losses to them? No. Draw. Goalless draw. Okay. Second match upcoming soon. That'll be a big test to see how confident we can feel heading into a promotion playoff for the first time and not seeing automatic promotion through winning the league. Second place, pretty good, especially with how things looked when we were kind of a 6, 7, 8, 9 early in the season. We've emerged as a clear number 2. And we just distanced Truro City, by the way, as Real Bedford beat them. Scoring, Lada scores and then gets sent off right after. Did he fight somebody after scoring the goal? I mean, it didn't look like it was a second yellow. Okay, it was a second yellow that he was sent off for. So, aggressive celebration, I suppose, as the left winger scores the goal, over celebrates and picks up his second yellow card. Could be. They definitely deserved the win based on the performance. Told you Tom Evans could get hurt again. Pulled groin, 3 to 6 days. Different injury entirely. All right, it's intake time. We've got it. We've got a goalkeeper and a left winger that come in as the top current players. Looks like Paul Davidson is probably going to be good enough to contribute immediately if we want it. Left wing is not a position we are in need of at the moment, but a Sam Julian could come in as our backup immediately, but we want him to play. So I would figure in order to develop. So I would figure we might want to throw him into, either the U21s or U18s to develop as opposed to just being the backup. But if we had an injury, then he could come in. Other top talents, we do have a left back, Paul Allen, who does have some quality. Looks like, 9 tackling, not a whole lot of pace or strength, but very, very balanced outside of no flair or can't take a corner kind of thing. Looks like Paul Allen is going to be straight away into the side for a couple upcoming fixtures. Out of necessity, really. We also have a Stacey Culver, another left back, who could technically play right back. Similar situation, great teamwork, pretty good mentals right off the bat. Good technique, good first touch, good tackling, good marking, good passing. Zero jumping reach whatsoever, though. That's going to be a problem for him. But yeah, we may be forced into bringing those guys into the side quite literally from day one. There's a third left back there. There's a right back who's a little bit weaker, but fourth left back. We got some fullbacks. In this group. Technically, they're all center backs by trade, but also left backs. And it's time for a little youth intake matchup. We may not see the whole thing here. We might just watch about a half or so and then just move on with our life. But here's a brief preview of some of the players of the future here of our Youth Factory team. Adekunle is the one player who has emerged over this year. He's from our last intake, and Adekunle for the U18s is playing on top today. Our U18s are in purple. The intake players, the candidates, are in green for this one. Early on, things are pretty evenly matched. Possession a little bit more in favor of the intake players. So that's generally a good sign because, unlike in previous years, our U18s at this point is pretty well established. They've been together for some time. They are the higher potential guys as this ball over the top for Davidson. Well played from Davidson. I'm really, really well played on that goal here. We've already played half an hour, by the way. Defensively, that was poor. But that's kind of the point here is our U18s, even though it's the higher potential group, even though it's got some years of practice and development, it has been obvious, painfully obvious, how quickly top players get plucked and brought up because we are in that revolving door the last few years. But like I said, going professional this year has really helped us out. We've only lost Gordon, and he's the one guy who was still on that part-time contract, as Davidson nearly makes it to, or at least I think that was Davidson who got on the end of that one. We'll go ahead and play on a little bit more into the second half. That first half went by really quickly. Not many highlights. Not a ton of quality. I think the teams are more or less neutralizing each other most of the time here. But the intake players, the quality of the few is outshining the quality of the one out of Kunle for the U18s. We only have the one key player in Gordon to replace this summer. If we can hang on to everybody else, we've already got that covered. Adekunle coming in as that new starter to replace Gordon. Kasungo Matumbo continuing to be the backup as Davidson gets another nice play there too. Really nice play there. Great sign to see that one. It's Peacock who's going to get the assist on this one. Long ball over the top. Davidson making that run through the middle. Defense could have read that a bit better, but that was still well-timed pass, well-timed run. Good finish. Not normal to see that out of your intake. Good header there from Davidson too, showing some good signs. I have not looked at the individual attributes of any of the players. The screen that you saw with the actual intake screen, that's the only one I've seen at this point. I have not bothered to look just yet. It's only been one day since then. We will analyze the players here shortly. But Davidson, he's been impressive. Peacock has been impressive. He had the well-timed pass moments ago, and he just made it 3. We've only had 3 shots on target for the youth players, and yet they are comfortably on top of this one. in a similar way. Really surprised Adekunle hasn't been able to do anything. I mean, even if they were to lose 3-1, I'm really surprised that Adekunle hasn't either assisted or scored. As dominant as he is, I would expect that he's better than all of the candidate players, as they do get one back, though it was not Adekunle. It looks like he's moved over to the wing, or was just out of position from the previous play. But Baker over the top. It looks like, yeah, Adekunle has moved to that right wing, where he is going to be playing for us next year. So they made some sort of sub at some point. Northmore Bud moved to the top position and was able to finish that one off this time. Of course, it's hard to score too many goals when you're not getting much service. The drop-off after Adekunle in our U18s currently, in terms of quality, is quite severe. Oof, that one's kept just in. I'm really impressed by Davidson in this match. He has played so well. That's a nice tackle from Tyson, though he is sitting on a yellow. Nice tackle from Calver. Not good positioning from Calver on the defense of that one, though, as he needed to immediately be dropping to pick up Adekunle, not letting him sit 10 yards behind him like that. First we've seen of the goalkeeper, Julian, being tested. Of course, yes, gave up a goal, but there was nothing he could have done on that one. Peacock. Another great cross. Anderson back into Davidson. Davidson would have been offside from the looks of it, so that was a perfect switch there by Peacock. And then by that point, Davidson's back onside. Yes, he is definitely offside. Great no touch. Was that intentional, or was Davidson just letting it go to not have it be offside? Anderson then just pumps it right back to him. And it's 4-1. The intake players showing up in a big way today. Love to see it. Looks like we've got some quality in this intake. Let's go ahead and break down the intake and what we've gotten. First off, comparisons. Adekunle is currently a 78 of a 146 potential. He has developed significantly this season. He was in the 50s, like a 57, 55, 56 start of the year. So he has developed quite well over the course of this season and is looking really good. After that, though, the drop-off's pretty big. You got a couple players in the 50s, like 3 of them. That's it. Potential-wise, other than Adekunle, you're looking at guys that are all mid-70s, other than Dugan, but that's because we're really weak. At defensive mid, really thin, so I had to kind of hang on to him. But otherwise, it's, exclude Dugan, it's mid-70s to about a 100. That's where our U18s are at. Senior squad. Oh, at a 100 for Lanahan Penreese. We are finally back up there. Gordon at a 92, but of course heading out the door here at the end of the season. And now a wide number of players at 80 plus, where we started the season with, 3 guys in the 80s? Something like that. So we've progressed so well through this season. McFadden, 78, progressing slowly, but progressing. Chris Webb has progressed immensely. He was like a 44 last season, now 74. Kasanga Mutombo hasn't changed much, but that's because he's almost to his potential. Kamara has come along nicely, now a 69. Wilkinson at 69, he's only progressed a little bit this season. And then the drop-off. Arthur has gotten ever so slightly better. Arthur started at almost the same place as Adekunle at the start of the season, and he's now astronomically behind him. And then Greg and Evans at the bottom of the list. Evans hasn't changed at all in multiple seasons. He just does not have the determination, I suppose. So now, the intake players. Again, Adekunle, a 78 current ability. We got 2 guys right on his heels coming in through this intake with Paul Davidson and Sam Julian. So a left winger / striker and a goalkeeper. Davidson is the real deal. He really showed it. He was getting that he was getting the ball distribution that helped, that made a difference. But my oh my, there's a number of players in the 50s. So you've got Guven, who ended up injured. He's going to be out for about a month. Calver, left fullback. a 55. I do think he is going to go straight into the starting lineup with the injuries that we have incurred. Doran, Paul Allen, all in their 50s. 2 left fullbacks in their 50s, coming right when we need it most. And that is an upgrade from our other options at the position. So we, again, we're down all 4 positions. Tom Evans should be back soon. Our only right back, a 39 or a 35. I think we'll stick with the experience of Evans, even though Evans is only in the mid-40s and not progressing. You get what you get. Evans should be available in the upcoming fixtures, hopefully. In terms of potential, we got 3 players with high potential. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 80 plus, a handful in the high 70s. And realistically, we're looking at Francis and Purnell that are immediate cuts. That's it. The rest are 75 plus potential, so easy choices. We will sign all the rest, which does mean that we could be in for some changes in the U18s in the near future, though again there, outside of that one player who had 65 in Dugan, he'll get let go. Mark Walker, if I have better options, he'll get let go. 43-73, but that puts him pretty close to Evans, right? There's some better potential, but 35-75 versus 43-73, we're not talking about there being that much in it. So he might be sticking around after all. But so realistically, I think we're looking at letting go just a few players, taking all the rest, which means our squad size is increasing throughout the organization. So there might actually be some players stored into the U23s, or more realistically, in the coming season, I might actually begin the process of loaning some players out, especially those that are a little bit older, loaning them out to get some first team experience with other clubs. Here's the thing about that, though. The level you play at matters. But if you're playing in the U21s or the U18s, that's a lower level. So playing down a league or 2 doesn't hurt as bad. But then also the training facilities of the club, right? They've got good training facilities here. They've got good coaching staff here. They're not going to necessarily get that elsewhere. So I wouldn't expect too many players. So that's why I haven't been using a loan system to help my players develop, because they're not likely to get what is necessary out of that process. Very unlikely, really. But it might be time to utilize that, because a bloated squad is just that. It also might be time to start taking a closer look at some players that have been around the system for a while, guys that are getting into their 20s and just not developing. One thing I have noticed about our last couple of intakes is our minimum current ability that we're bringing in now is a 35, where it used to be a 30. The last 2 years now, it's been 35 plus for every player. So those minimum players that are coming in at a higher level, and a lot of those 30s are still 30s. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. A guy who's 18 and still a 30 current ability, Lee Campbell, it looks like he's not going anywhere in terms of development. And that's somebody that we would probably decide to part ways with, because he just doesn't have the gene in him that's going to allow him to grow as a player. Chestnut's near the bottom of the league, so it's an easy match, but we're on the road. Makes it a little tougher, and of course our fullback crisis still exists. It's only a few days from the intake, and even though I've offered all those contracts out just a couple days after we took the intake, none of them have been signed yet. We'll have them in the next couple of days, so those new fullbacks will be available in coming matches, but they're not available today. Tom Evans, who was hurt again, a third time already, I have no choice but to play him because we have literally no options. And Mawson, who is tired and a terrible left back is literally my only other option. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to start Wilkinson again. And you know what? Let's do it. He's got a heavy load anyway. We're going to start Wilkinson again. Comes in at a half star. Below average rating for the youth team. And Mawson will keep him on the bench. We've also got Walker on the bench, all from the existing U18s. We are still with Kitching in. So injuries are still high, especially at fullback. We'll see if we can come away with a result today. 3-0, all 3 goals coming in the last minutes of the match. Total domination throughout, but it took till the 79th to get the breakthrough, and then we just unloaded the floodgates on them. But Real Bedford have taken a loss, have they? Have they just taken a loss? Or yes, they have. Salisbury, our next opponent, has just beaten Real Bedford 1-0. We are now just 5 points behind with 5 matches to play. 8 points ahead of Truro City. Well clear now of Taunton and Maidenhead. We are headed for the playoffs, folks. We may or may not have actually already locked something up along those lines. 15 points? Yeah, I think we have. So we are now confirmed for the playoffs. We're headed that far at least. But what position? Right now, looks like second. Right now, I think we've won 13 straight wins. 13 straight. We were 12-8-4 at one point this season. Now we're 25-8-4. That's an incredible feat. Can we keep the good times rolling all the way through the end of the season? Can we squeak out a league win? It's only 5 to play. Real Bedford, one of those 5 is head-to-head. 3-point swing would make it 86-88. One other loss for them along the way. If we win out, it is still possible, folks. It is still possible. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.